Yeah. Do you get your hair played with?
I do.
I do
And
too.
I will tell you though, I've never been like pushed or shoved, or I haven't had anything happen to me in a ill manner, you know?
Hmm. I understand that. And Carl said he did mean any time, not just in the jail.
Yes, I've never had anything happen to me where that felt threatening, or, you know, I've had my clothes tugged on, parts of like my arms, my hair, stuff tugged on, touched. Um, but I didn't feel threatened, and there was no marks left on me. I'm good with it.
Well, I've never had marks left on me, but I was threatened because I created alarm in the spirit that did it, and that was at the Pensacola Lighthouse in the keeper's quarters.
Uh-huh.
And I had left something in the children's bedroom, a piece of equipment that I needed in the light tower. And so I was just running from one to the other to get it. And I flew up the stairs into the keeper's quarters. And I got almost to the top of the stairs, and this like huge black mass just, it was like, in wizard movies and stuff where they pull the cape up over them, or like vampire things. That's what it looked like.
Oh my.
And I was like, hello. Oh dear. And so I just said, look, you know me, I've been here for hours. I'm sorry I startled you. I don't mean any harm. But I left a piece of equipment in there that I need to have over on the other side, and I need to go in there and get it. And I don't mean any harm at all. And I mean, I was explaining my head off, right?
Yeah.
So it never really, it didn't go away, but it wasn't a big mass anymore.
Right. Right.
And so I just,
It calmed down a little bit.
well, it was going to let me get it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I very calmly and nonchalantly walked into the kids' room and picked it up and said, I'm sorry if I frightened y'all, and got the heck out of there and went over to the
Yeah.
tower because that was, and it was really big. It went from there being nothing visible there to just a whoosh.
Right. Right.
And that was attention getting. I've never, to my memory right now, I've never been scratched. I've been with people who were standing next to me who were. I've had burning sensations, but there be nothing there.
Mm.
And the most well defined for a reason touch I've ever had was in your jail in the basement, where there was all of a sudden an absolutely horrific odor. And I was trying to figure out what it was, and it dawned on me that it smelled like decay.
Right.
And I was like, why don't you tell us what that smell is? I know you know. What is that smell? What did you do? And that's when I got the fingers over my lips. And I was like, you can't do that. Don't do that. And I said, so tell me what that smell is. And they did it again. And Brenda in chat was like, they call a cat a name. And she's right. I get that a lot. But I mean, with consistency. And I am not, as a rule, I'm not aggressive in investigations. I just kind of stroll through. And I'm more observing than much of anything. And I get called the B word all the time. And I don't mean bravo. It's just, it's just, it's almost like a joke on the spiritual side of things. It's like, hey, this is what we do when she comes here. Why don't you try that? It's so funny when she hears that. But, and my team just thinks that's a hoot because it's
Yes, it's fun.
consistent. I had been out of the field for 3 months, because I had pneumonia that would not go away. And I was really weak and exhausted, but I was well. And I was building strength every day. And we were at an outdoor thing. I was going to shoot the book cover for two members of my team's book that they had were getting ready to put out. And I was so excited because we're outside. It's beautiful. We're down by a bridge. Everything's peachy keen. And I said, so, who are you? You know, why do you hang out here? I know that there's a blue hole up here, which is astounding. I've never seen one before. And I got it. And I just looked at Kim and the founder of Scare of Alabama, and I just looked over at her and I was like, are you kidding me? I haven't even been anywhere for 3 months. And it was hilarious. It really was. I used to get a complex about it, and then I'm like, oh, please, you're not even original.
Right.
So,
I mean, the first couple of times was probably a little shocking, though, wasn't it?
yeah, it was, but not anymore because now it's just kind of a farce. And I don't know if that irritates them or what, but, the first couple of times, the most surprising one was in a residential case. And it just came out of nowhere. And we were doing a session. I can't remember I think it was a voice box session. I don't think it was just EVP. But anyway, I was standing on one side of the bedroom and other team members were around that area. And I said, well, if you're here, where are you? Seriously. I don't know where you are. I'm not seeing anything that looks unusual. And you heard behind you in the closet, B. And I was like, oh, okay. So you're hiding. But that was an experience. And because, I love residential casework. So I feel like it's one of the reasons I have my gifts is to help other people when they can't help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, thanks, Brenda, for bringing that up. We're talking later. But,
right.
But then she did cover it back up saying they're wrong because I'm a sweetheart. So she's forgiven.
I mean, ever since the time, just that one particular day that you tried to broadcast out of the first floor cell block there at the jail, that's when everything went crazy and they were really riled up.
They were riled up.
Excuse me, but I mean, after that, I mean, they've been great with you.
Well, they have, and it was funny that you brought that up because I was going through some pictures when I was looking for things to do the video. I came across the picture I sent you when I was pulling out of the song. Because I'm sorry, they manipulated my Sirius radio. I'm in the middle of a Chesney song, and it skipped, and it started playing this Alison Krauss song.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of it was Ghost in This House. and I took the picture, y'all, of that, and I sent it to Shelly, and I was like, so are they telling me bye, or are we made up and friends again, or, I'm not sure what to think of this. So.
Well, I think by the time you left that particular weekend, I think they were fine.
Well, I think they were fine after we had that portal session in the kitchen. Because...
And we let them choose where to have the broadcast at.
Yep.
I think that made all the difference.
Well, I think it did too. And I think the fact that I was like, I did not drive 14 hours to be here for my health. I am trying to get. I was hot, y'all. It was just like, you know, I came up here to help you. Shelly is wanting this to be a paranormal research center, and people have to know what's happening. And, you know, and finally it went from whoa to really? And, you know, we found peace and
I mean,
tranquility.
the backstory on that is, for those of you who don't know, some of you do know, we've talked about it before, but Kat came up to the jail to do a broadcast, a live show from the jail, and we were going to do it from the first floor cell block, which is usually very active. So we hardwired her laptop with some really long Ethernet cables, and every time she would go into the cell block, they would not let it happen. It got so bad where she was going to try to manually override some of the settings. It got so bad where her settings even disappeared from her laptop. So, but the moment she'd come over that threshold from the cell block, boosh, everything would work again, you know. And not only that, there was so much banging and noise and carrying on in that block. It was unbelievable.
Yes. I mean, like banging on the fire doors, the big steel fire doors. And, you know, I really am glad that it never crossed my mind that if they were able, and bear in mind, nothing was moving. The doors were clanging, but they weren't moving. The sounds were there. And it never crossed my mind when this was happening that if they can strike something, they can strike me. Until after the fact. And, you know, so I was basically just toe to toe with them because I was as mad as they were. And
I was having talks with them and stuff, and they still were not letting that happen. And so after a couple of hours of trying to negotiate with these spirits, and I know you're all probably thinking we're crazy, but that's exactly what we were having to do.
Yeah.
Kat turned the portal box on. She says, well, we need to have a talk. And that's when they told us,
absolutely not.
It's not happening in that cell block. And Kat asked them, where can we do it? And they told us the third floor. So we carted everything up to the third floor, and you know what? There was no interruptions.
And we did the full 2 hours from the third floor, which is ironic because that's a place you don't even like to be.
No, I don't spend a whole lot of time up there by myself. I do sessions, I do some research work up there, but it's not because I'm afraid up there. It's because they're always up there, and I feel like kind of like you're infringing or something, however you want to say it. It's a little uncomfortable. It's like going to the neighbors and just going right into their bedroom, you know what I mean, and hanging out. Like, you shouldn't do that, you know what I mean? You go chat with them at the kitchen table or something, you know? They're really intimate places.
Right.
And they're always there, so I feel like I'm invading their space. That's how I'll say it.
That's
and
appropriate.
they always talk, and you hear walking around and noises, and the sheriff is up there a lot, and he is a disembodied voice many times, and I don't spend a lot of alone time up there.
At all, people. Not at all. Nobody does. Nobody on her team likes up there.
Not by themselves, alone like that.
Yeah. But, you know, we are 30 seconds out from our top of the hour news break, and we've got questions in chat that we're just going to have to get to because I'm excited. One of them is fantastic. Well, both of them are fantastic. I think there's another one up above there too. But we will be back. This is it's about a 5 1/4 minute news break. and you are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham.